everyone, and welcome to Sorry You Went Viral. This is the podcast where we look at all the stories that have been setting social media alight over the last week or so, and the human side behind it as well. My name's Hannah.
And I'm Tim, and let's go into what went viral this week.
Yeah.
And Hannah, do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a model who has been celebrated in large part on social media for a clip of her at doing a catwalk show. I think it was Miami Swimsuit Week, and she is what some people would call a plus size model. She's just a bit curvy, basically, and 98.7 million views for this clip. Now, her name is Marissa Dubois. She's 28 years old, and on I think it's on Twitter, she goes by the handle Reality with Riss. And so generally, it was kind of like a big celebration of the fact that this beautiful woman was up there doing her thing, strutting her stuff in Miami. And I think for the most part, the majority of the responses were, yay for you, this is great, blah, blah, blah. It's far more realistic for the majority of people out there as well to have a few sort of lumps and bumps. But then there was a bit of the usual kind of like Twitter backlash as well. So 6 million people saw a tweet from one man who said, and I quote, and we can probably bring it up now on the screen if you're watching on video, obesity is not healthy, not natural, and definitely not something we should normalize. So, you know, risk.
Crazy.
Completely crazy. And she then responded back in turn and has had quite a lot of publicity as well as a result of this.
Yeah, I mean, looking at her, like, stunning woman. And she's not obese. It's ridiculous. You said it went viral. She was interviewed by CNN Brazil, and you know, she says about being in the fashion industry, you've got to have a tough skin. But, you know, even on social media, it's still kind of quite a lot to take in. And she started hitting back. Some people thought her body was fake. Obviously, yeah, there is a big thing now of you can get, you know, uplifts for all sorts of things.
Implants, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
enough.
And, you know,
Go on.
No, so she posted a photo of her from school saying, look, this is my name. It's like Big Booty Judy or whatever, you know, to show it's real. I did find it quite funny. She said, I decided to start modelling because her dad suggested it. Now, I'm not sure how many parents or dads would normally suggest their children to get into modelling, but hey, she's done really well from it.
Yeah.
What I loved as well was she started... she posted back and she called them, the people criticising her, incels and miserable, jealous women trying to fat shame her. You know, it's...
Yeah. And hopefully she'll get quite a lot of, you know, promotion from this as well. And she said she's looking forward to the opportunity to walk at New York Fashion Week, maybe even Paris and Milan down the line as well. That would be a dream come true. And I think there's definitely a lot more focus now on, you know, the less of the 1990s heroin chic kind of look, and it's much more of kind of like a more realistic shape. And she's just out there representing that and doing, you know, seemingly a very good job of it as well. But yeah, so that's, you know, a bit more of the, hopefully some of the positive side of social media, but also infiltrated with some of the negative nonsense that you get as well. Yeah, so more on that, those related stories later in the show.
I love this next story. Love Island, still obviously really popular, and it has lots of attractive women on the show and men, but probably not the best idea if you're in the audience, you know, to be caught ogling some of the stars of the show, like this guy did. You can see on the video feed if you're watching on that. He was this guy, we don't know who he is, was caught basically catching an eyeful, should we say, of Maya Jama's behind on live TV, and it was filmed by a guy called Farhan, and it's been seen 10 million times.
And then Maya Jama, then she responded as well with a kind of like laughing emojis as well to it. I mean, and that's had 6 million views in and of itself. So she's totally got in on the game on this. And also we should say she is there as the presenter, and she's wearing pretty kind of like suggestive kind of outfit anyway. So she clearly wanted to be looked at. So I don't think she's sort of taking any offence at all at being ogled, as you say, by this young man. Although the girl next to him might be a bit upset if that's his girlfriend.
Yeah, that is the danger of it. I mean, it's mostly harmless, but yeah, I feel sorry if that was his partner next to him. Something else that kind of got a lot of eyeballs this week. You may have seen about the story about it's been across all the media, was this bear in this Chinese zoo. People wondering if it's a human or not, and that's been covered a lot in the media. But this story has been less so, and I love this story. This is a guy, I've never heard this phrase, a canine cosplayer is how I'm going to call him. A guy called Toko, apparently. He spent, believe it or not, 2 million yen, which is about 11 grand, £11,000, on this costume that looks very much like a collie dog.
A lassie dog.
Yeah. And it's always been his dream to be a dog. Believe it or not. And he has filmed himself for his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is called I Want to Be an Animal, which, pretty to the point. This video we're showing you now on the video feed got 7 million views last time I looked. And it's of him dressed as a collie dog. And I'll be honest, it looks really realistic. Although apart from he's waving his paws a little bit strangely. But looks really realistic. And it's people interacting with him. Now, look, he's put out the video, so it's pretty positive. What we can't see is anyone freaking out by some guy dressed in up as a dog. You actually Jeremy Beadle or something like that. But what I loved as well was not just about how he, this story and, whether, is he just a strange guy or what, but actually the human side, again, going back to this, what the whole show's about, is the human side of it. He talked about in an interview about how he was nervous and scared of going out in public in this, and he said about how sad he was, and he just says, I love animals and enjoy play acting like a collie.
Yeah, and he says at one point that, where as a kid, lots of people might want to be an astronaut or something else, and he always wanted to be a dog. And so when he got the opportunity and the funds to be able to do it, and as you mentioned, it's a lot of money. We're talking about £11,000, 2 million yen, to have this sort of custom-made, hyper-realistic collie suit created for him. And he was in a position to be able to do it, and he's done it. And he's obviously making money off his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of followers, a lot of views on it and everything. But there has been, again, a negative side to it as well. A lot of people saying, well, I mean, you spend 11,000 on a dog suit, and when you could be spending that on therapy. I mean, maybe they've got a point, but still, he's not doing anyone any harm, as far as we know. At least he's not doing any harm. He's just enjoying himself. It's his hobby, as he says. It's my hobby. I'll carry on. It makes me happy, and it makes other people happy too. The interesting thing about it, though, is that the man behind Toko hasn't actually revealed his human identity because he's nervous about what his I'm afraid my friends will find my hobby bizarre, so I haven't told anyone about my transformation into a dog. But so I mean, hopefully now that he's kind of had quite a lot of mostly positive feedback at being Toko the dog, then hopefully Toko the human will also get a fair crack of the whip as well.
Indeed. Next up, now I encountered this problem while clearing out my late mum's house. This is one of the hardest things in the world to do, is taking a photo of a mirror without you appearing in it.
Yeah.
And it's so tricky, and we can everything we can empathise with. That there's an account set up on Twitter called Selling a Mirror, which celebrates some of the embarrassing, hilarious attempts that we do trying to take a picture without appearing in it.
Yeah.
And this picture we're showing you on the video feed has got 2 million views, and I love it. They've gone to a real extent to try not to be in the picture, and their friends not be in the picture. It just looks ridiculous. It's hard. It must be incredible. It's really hard to take a photo of something like that.
Well, yeah, as you say, we've all been there, like weird angles, trying to make sure that you're not in it, or no one else is in it, but also that your home or the environment around isn't maybe in it as well too much. You don't want to give too much away about the inside of your living room or whatever it is. So yeah, you can see there, I guess it's a guy with his sliders there. You can see him holding up the mirror, and then she is just full shot, obviously, full length, just studying really carefully, trying to make sure that the camera's in the right place to get the full length of the mirror, not realizing that she's basically put herself up for sale online.
You say about about thinking about where they're taking photos, and it's hard because common sense would be you take the mirror out of where it is, put it into a simple background, and not showing off your house or your flat or whatever, and then you would just take a photo. But there's people who are topless taking photos or half dressed, and it's in the cupboard, and as we're showing you on the video now, just very strange. Like it's just.
I think there's a lesson that we can all learn from this. Like, we all want to sell our mirrors or our reflective surfaces, and that's fine. But maybe just have a little thought about what you're wearing, where you're standing, because even if you do end up in it, it's not the end of the world. It could just be funny, but it's definitely not going to be funny if you're there with your tits out.
There we go. That's the moral for today, Hannah.
On to the next story.
Now, just prepare yourself. This is probably the most meta story we've dealt with on the show. Let me try and explain it to you simply, and just pull me up if there's anything that you don't understand. So, there is a Twitter account by the name of Yolanda Fister, which, indeed, great name. And it posted a picture of these two women in the back of a car. And on this picture, again, we're showing you on the video feed now, the post said, "I'm an Uber driver, and I was telling my passengers about how I can't afford to feed my 5 children. These women then tipped me £2,500 each for their journey, which will buy my family groceries for an entire week. I'm so grateful to these kind souls." And I've never seen this account before, but it's popular already. So I don't know what they've been doing in the past, but it got picked up, and then things started to get a bit more crazy.
Yeah, well, because everyone started to pile in, just saying, "Hang on a minute, $2,500 to feed 5 children in just 1 week. That's $1,000 per kid. What are you feeding your kids?" So someone's saying, and so like, then Yolanda Fister then replied saying, "I buy my kids a rotisserie chicken each. I shop at Whole Foods because I'm anti-GMO. My kids are picky eaters, so I have to throw away 60% of what I buy." Clearly kind of like just trolling all of the people who are kind of like saying, "This is mental. This can't be true. Like, what on earth do you think?" It's like saying that he was giving I feed my kids caviar, or only on Wednesdays. Anyway, it just went completely bonkers. Loads and loads of views. I don't know do we know how many views it got, that initial, the initial picture?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'll try and look it up and put it in the post later on. It went very popular.
Yeah. And then got more so because of the meta nature of this story, which you can go into now.
Yeah, so these two women, I'll be honest, I didn't know they were. But in the US, they're pretty famous. Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps Sullivan. I think they're actresses on TV shows in the US. They've got their own podcast. Haven't everyone got their own podcast? It's called I've Had It, which is a great name for a podcast. They found out about this story, recognised themselves in this photo, obviously, and then talked about it on their podcast. And turns out it was a photo from them on a trip in New York. And rather than being angry or annoyed at what was going on, they absolutely loved it. And they gave a real kind of glowing recommendation for Yolanda, which we can listen to now.
Yolanda Fister is fucking undefeated.
5 stars.
Undefeated on the World Wide Web.
So as you can see, they gave Yolanda this kind of like glowing praise, thought it was all brilliant, all hilarious. And they actually tried to get in touch then with Yolanda as well. And then turns out that Yolanda Fister responds to them saying, "Hi, I'm in my 20s. I'm a gay man and I live in Scotland." So they were like, again, just even more brilliant, because I think this whole thing was, they were in the taxi in New York or something like that, certainly stateside. So hilarious, just again, an example of how people get so sucked into just the thing that they see and think it's real, when actually it was a complete kind of like parody account. Speaking of parody accounts that emanate from Scotland, let's stay in Scotland then, and we're going to move on to the next part of the podcast, which is what it's like to go viral. Now, many of you will have probably seen this tweet in the last couple of days. It was an Edinburgh Fringe performer called Georgie Greer, who's got a one-woman show up at the Edinburgh Festival, and she tweeted with a picture of herself, sort of seemingly crying or upset, basically saying, there was one person in my audience today when I performed my one-woman play. It's fine, isn't it? It's fine. And Tim, talk us through some of the response that she got, because who knows if she was expecting to get quite the amount of views and messages.
No, I mean, Edinburgh, you hear so much how hard it is. Yes, if you're a famous comedian, of course you'll get sellouts every night, but a one-woman show competing against many others, it must be incredibly tough and very dispiriting. But what's been so uplifting, particularly on Twitter, which, gets a bad rap, and we try and show that there's still good sides to Twitter, was just the outpouring of support from ordinary members of the public, but also some famous comedians and behind-the-scenes people. Dara O'Brien said, "We've all done it. Soon you'll dine out on this anecdote." And he's admitted more than once he had to buy his audience a drink as being the only ones there to say thank you. And, which is lovely to hear from someone like him. Jason Manford, though, went one step further by recording a little video, and we can show you a clip of it right now.
You know what? It's absolutely normal, for one person to rock up to your show, especially at the beginning of Edinburgh, and also for you to be a bit upset or annoyed or pissed off about it. That's totally fine as well. I did Edinburgh in 2004-05, and I remember first couple of shows, first week I think, was just, it was such a slog, and I was out in the rain and I was flyering and people weren't coming, and I got total imposter syndrome. How much is this costing me? What am I doing here? Look at all these amazing people. How embarrassing that these people nobody's turned up. But you know what? You're on the path, and it's just the start. That's all.
That's lovely that he's taken the time out to film that reassuring words for her. What I love as well is just some of the kind of really big names in theatre and TV. Spencer Millman, who's produced some of the country's best comedy shows like TV Burp and Bo Selector over the last 20 so years, said some of the best shows, he replied to us saying, some of the best shows I've seen at Fringe were when there was literally no audience. It made me connect with the performer even more, and he gave someone that very special performance. David Laveau, who a very big theatre and film director, admitted he was once in a play at the Fringe. We'd had one person in the audience, but that was an improvement on the night before where they had nobody.
Oh, so disappointing. But
now,
as you said, there are so many performers who are now kind of like, global superstars who started off at the Fringe. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, so many people who probably started off having maybe one person or no one in the audience. So we wish her well. And the good news is that because this has gone viral, her initial tweet and all of the kind of like following up messages as well, is that she's back on stage again today. I think she's back on stage possibly as we're recording. So one can only assume that she's going to have more than one person in the audience this time. So we will follow up on that and hopefully be able to sort of bring you some good news about a sellout. Okay, finally on Sorry You Went Viral, we always do a timeline cleanser, and this one is just lovely. Take a look at this. It's bottles smashing.
there's something just mesmerizing about that. Some people talk about like it's ASMR. I just find it curious to find out what bottle would smash or take the longest to smash. And
Yeah.
it's a bit like a chili sauce bottle, I think, got to the bottom of that staircase. Now, this user, TikTok user called Ratcha Potes, I hope I pronounced that name correctly. Their video is showing you has got 300 million views.
Amazing.
It's been duetted by lots of people as well. And since June alone, that account has got 37 million likes. Just shows, again, she's got different videos of bottles and other things smashing down that staircase. Just shows you it's kind of the most inane things that captivate us on social media.
And with that, we're going to end the show. Tim, do you want to just let everyone know about how they can get in touch, how they can follow us?
Yeah, so you can find us on all the social channels. If you just search for Sorry You Went Viral, you'll find us there posting highlights of today's shows and links to how you can follow the content creators that we've highlighted on today's show. And if you want to get in touch, you can email us sorryyouwentviral@gmail.com. That's it for this week's show. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.